In today's podcast, we would like to interview a very inspiring guest, manager and leader Marija Raškovič, who is currently the head of operations at SIA CE. Her story is one of those success stories we always like to hear about. During her career, she worked her way up from the lower positions right to the top, the management team of the company. Welcome, Marija. Hello. I'm happy to have you here.
Hello, Hannah. Thank you. Happy to be here.
Marija, your CV as well as your career path is very interesting and inspiring. After studying law, you immediately joined payment processing business. Tell us something more about the start of your path.
Wow, my path actually starts way before that, probably back when I was some 12 years old. And these are those things which you cannot usually put in your CV. My parents used to own a small family business where I used to help. It was at the beginning a small shop of various goods and later transformed into a coffee place. And I don't know, I was probably not aware back at the time, but I believe that this was a very significant period for me and my future career path, that this was kind of a place where I learned there on the field the basics of sales and good customer service, importance of knowing the product you're selling and how to approach customers. And even though I was never forced by them to actually do all that, nor being directly taught about the importance of hard working, earning your own money. On the contrary, they wanted me to be a kid, to play, do cool things and have free time. I somehow learned by watching them. They were both very hard-working people, and my mom, she had this innate trait of a strong, capable, independent woman, both financially and in a thought process. So I guess I just picked it up, and it very much defined part of me and laid down all those basic building blocks of my future career path.
That's very nice what you said. And as I mentioned, you studied law. So why did you decide to work for such a different type of the business?
Well, I guess that was because I was studying law. I was never a big fan of law. I was always in love with those social sciences and arts, and was very much into drama back then, acting to be precise. And back when I was 18 and was choosing what to study, I really had troubles to choose one of those. And law somehow seemed like a very practical choice. Plus, on top of that, the entry exam was really easy. You just had to pass the Serbian language and literature and history exams. So I went there, I passed, I started studying it. At the beginning, it was really amazing and good thing to do with all those, introduction to and basics and historical part. But the second it started to be more concrete. I found myself reading and learning about everything else besides the law. I even used to go with my friends who were studying other things to their universities, listening to their lectures. So obviously, I failed a couple of exams on mine. And as I said, being taught and brought up to strongly believe in financial independence, I started thinking about getting some job on the side while I was studying so that I don't waste time and my parents' money. And a friend told me about this company where I would work in shifts, have some days off, deal with the system of payment cards, post terminals, ATMs, and all that sounded very amazing to me when I was really young. And the second I started learning about this whole new world existing behind us, all this magic about, you put your plastic card into some machine and the actual money, cash goes out. I was impressed and I wanted to learn more and more. And that was 17 years ago. Here I am, still kind of learning more about payment card industry on a daily basis.
Yes, so you started to work as a voice operator, if I understand it well.
Yes.
And then you changed several positions in the same company. So tell us more about your current position at SIA CE.
My current position, I'm currently leading the customer operations for Central Europe. That is an organization which has teams sitting in Serbia, Slovakia, and Hungary. And I took over the lead of organizations just prior to its transformation. The concept switched from having these teams organized locally by countries into the, composition of 7 regional competence centers, where each one of those is led by one regional manager and has people in all 3 countries. This was a year and a half ago when this happened, and still is a very big change of the way how we do things. My personal main responsibility lies in ensuring that contractual obligations such as service quality, SLAs are maintained to ensure client satisfaction, sustain overall quality of multiple products and services we are offering and selling to our clients, meeting optimal profitability, drawing up, taking care about budget, defining the objectives to be achieved and within appropriate deadlines, and coordinating and motivating all those people in my team and encouraging their professional growth. And the latter one is definitely my personal favorite.
Mm-hmm. I can imagine, as I know you. You joined SIA in 2006, which marks 15 years this year. How does it feel for you? What it is exactly that you like about the company and what keeps you motivated?
Challenges and people in the company. First of all, I like solving problems and I like solving them in a creative and new ways. And I like doing that with a team. And we in SIA have a very unique mixture of people, different ages, background, skills, a lot of accumulated knowledge over time, which has been passed from person to person. And of course, so many possibilities with that big fusion we have over there. So pushing people to bring more by finding something new within themselves is something I really love to do. And I like to call it bending because I'm very careful about that. I would push and push and push on a person as long as they can bend, but I will be careful not to break them. And in my experience, results are always amazing and still very surprising and rewarding. Company itself is going through big changes now. We are having new owners, and that inevitably calls for some kind of transformation. And that combined with the internal transformation we have ongoing in customer operations and these never-ending challenges of the industry, which is changing on a daily basis with new technologies, I guess that all that combined makes a person who is driven by dealing with a challenge a very motivated one. Mm-hmm. So that would be that.
Mm-hmm. Great. Your position was changing over the time. You started as a member of the monitoring team in Serbia, and just recently you became the head of customer operations for Central Europe, which is a great achievement as you made it straight to the top, step by step in one company. Tell us more about this career journey.
Okay, well, like looking from this point of time, my career path seems very natural and logical. I was going step by step, but back then when I started, I didn't see that. And as I said, my first job was kind of a student job. So you're working in shifts, you're having some free time between them and having that type of work where it is required for you to be highly focused and present during your 12-hour shift, but afterwards you can simply switch off and do other things. Now, for example, there is almost no single moment where I'm not analyzing something in the back of my head, even when I'm sleeping, I think. And I started on that first level support team. And that is definitely the best way to start, in my opinion. To be a contact center or a monitoring operator in a company like ours means to know a little bit of everything. You need to know the basics of payment cards, how they work, something about POS terminals, about ATMs, a little bit about fraud, about processing cards, and about all those systems in the background which makes all that happening. So learning all that straight from the beginning, and back then when this industry was like still shaping, I think I got a really good foundation for my future growth. And there was this moment when I found myself organizing things within the team in which I was working. I was writing procedures, thinking about how we can improve our tools, chasing colleagues all over the company from other teams which had some kind of developing skills and begging them to create for us this new tool, this new script. And I started staying after work, after I finished my 12-hour shift, to work actually on all these things. And at one moment, someone noticed that and asked me if I would like to lead a team I was a member of. I was young, that seemed cool, like I will be a team leader, so I accepted. But for several next years, I had this internal fight, not being sure if I want to be a leader or an expert. I like analyzing problems, like it even today. And even today, very rarely, when I have time, it happens, but I tend to get lost with some interesting case we need to solve. So anyway, I kept moving forward in the leadership roles, being team leader at first, then supervisor, then coordinator of a bigger department. And I guess one day it just happened that I realized that motivating someone else, teaching them how to do what I was doing without straightforward telling them, like, you need to do this and that, just giving them the basic tools and instructions and a feedback after the job is done, all that started to be more satisfying and fulfilling than anything else I was doing. And I think one moment when one of my colleagues who I was teaching all this became better than me, when we came to the point when he was no longer asking me how to solve something, but I started asking him, was the most satisfying and defining moment in my career. There I was sure, like probably 100%, that I want to be a leader. So I just kept getting more responsibility, bigger teams. And one point I had to move to Slovakia because, as I said, back then we were organized by country, and that was the next natural step. And 3 years after I moved here, I got this opportunity to lead this big team. And now, a year after that, I guess I'm still trying to do that.
So as the head of operations, currently, you are now leading more than 150 employees. What do you consider as the key challenges that are ahead of you in your current role, and what are you looking forward to?
Okay. Well, I have a dream. I have a dream of this department which is fully cross-regional, where only a language, and currently we are supporting 11 languages in our department. Only language is something uniquely tied to a specific country or a client, but everything else can be done from any place, any person, no matter where they're sitting. And department which is almost self-sustainable, meaning that one of our teams responsible for developing and continual improvement of the way how we do things and tools which we use. For that is capable to materialize all those wishes of other colleagues. And department which is a talent factory, constantly producing new experts and leaders. And I guess that making that dream a reality is what I'm looking forward the most.
Yeah, that's very nice what you said. I really like this. If anyone would be interested in the career in customer operations, obviously now after someone heard what you have just said, maybe you have motivated someone. What type of positions do you have, and what do you seek for in a future employee?
Well, I would always recommend starting from the beginning in one of our several contact center units we have. We are always, not always, but we are often hiring people with language skills like Slovenian, Romanian, North Macedonian, Hungarian. And it's always a big plus if a person speaks also English and also a local country language on top of that. We would then offer a full training from industry and company perspective, and anyone who would be willing to learn all that in combination of existing or usually on the way improved language skills would have basically a recipe for personal success. Apart of that, we also are currently actually looking for ATM specialists and merchant support specialists. So those would be the people who are on daily basis providing support to our ATM and POS clients, but also to newly formed company-owned POS and ATM businesses we have started recently. And from time to time, we're also in a search for a back office specialist, people who are dealing with card product setups, processing files, various other things, in a team which we currently call accounting and transaction control. We also have a factory for card personalization and pin printing, and team which is physically dealing with POS terminals. This is a more technical kind of work for someone who is more into that. And then there are our so-called detectives and card payment lawyers. Those are people who are dealing with fraud management and chargebacks. They are either chasing and catching various fraudulent attempts or passing official claims to MasterCard and Visa specialized courts, I would say, for that purpose in case when fraud actually happened. Mm-hmm. And we have those dealing with department performance and excellence, usually developers or those enthusiastic to learn it. They're responsible for making all the magic happen by bringing the new tools and making daily work easy, which then leaves the time to people to think and deal with things which actually require just like human brain and that kind of approach. And what do I seek in a future employee? I would say the attitude. I would always go for the attitude prior to going for a skill. This is highly backed up by my experience. We can always teach the skills. And of course, if you come across someone who has both, it's amazing, but it's rare. And I will always choose the former one. When someone comes to the interview with that drive, with that glow in their eyes, I'm immediately motivated to work with those people. At some point, we all have to move somewhere, and I always want to leave someone better than me to do the job.
Mm-hmm. And what would be your personal recommendation or key learning that you would pass on all dedicated and passionate people who want to grow into the leadership or managerial roles and positions?
To watch Game of Thrones and Star Trek, like really often. But really, there are so many books, lectures, TED Talks, videos telling you how to be a good leader, giving you all these lists of what are the preferred leadership skills and etc. And you can study it, you can officially study it, you can go to some managerial university, you can study it unofficially on your own. And in all those sources, various sources which are all around, yes, definitely you can catch some good tricks, try them out, see if they work for you or they don't. But whenever some of my new managers is asking me, like, tell me how to do it, there is no specific thing, one specific thing you can learn, which will give you that concrete, precise know-how. It's more about commitment and about listening everyone around you, really listening. That gives you opportunity first to learn something new from the other person always, and also to see how others think, people from your team, to give you the chance to get to know them. And about commitment, you really need to commit to doing it on a daily basis, every day getting up and driving that particular goal, that particular project, that particular dream or a team, and practice all that, learning, changing, adapting. So yes, I guess you have to be open-minded, adaptable, agile in the sense that you are capable to switch attention, switch direction, be empathetic. It also helps, from my experience, when you are the one who has been there in other people's shoes, so experienced in that way. It makes easier for you to understand them, knowing if they are honest or not. And when I said the thing about the Game of Thrones, there is this one sentence I've heard in the TV show, which somehow can really sum up this. And it goes, if you want to learn how to lead, you first need to learn how to follow. And I remember when I was just a baby leader, I was maybe 24, and as many young people, I had that somewhere that I know the best attitude. And one day I was talking to an older colleague, not too much older in years, but older in experience, and I don't even remember what he told me. I just remember the feeling which was left afterwards when I finally gave up that I know the best, and I really started listening and following. And you can learn, like the worst thing you can, not the worst, but like the least thing you can learn is how not to be or how not to behave. So every time you can learn something by listening to others. And maybe this was one of the key momentums, and I highly recommend to all young wannabe leaders out there, learn how to follow first, listen and commit. And of course you need to trust people and have faith in them. I personally don't have kids, but I was a kid and I had really good parents. So I think that it's somewhere similar to parenting, maybe close to it. You give people some basics, you give them tools, you support them, encourage them, and hope what I guess every parent wants from their kids, for them to become better than you. So.
Yeah, this was really nice. Nice conclusion and end of this interview. Thank you very much, Marija, for this interesting views. And I wish you all the best in your future work.
Thank you, Hannah. It was my pleasure to be here, and same to you.